5 years ago, Labor government called a 5% deposit scheme a corrupt, bank-stuffing, house price inflating disaster. Their words, not mine. Today though, well, a couple of days ago, actually maybe a couple of weeks ago, they are rolling it out like they found the cure to the housing crisis that they helped manufacture. Unlimited places, no income gaps, no LMI. The same policy, just to put on some lipstick on it though, so it kind of looks better than what it used to. So what changed? Not the facts, not the maths, just who's in power. Am I wrong? That's literally what happened. Maybe let's play that video here for you so you can see like the exact, if we can find it.
Remember this? Today I announced that under a Labor government, you'll be able to buy your first home with just a 5% deposit. From the 1st of October, it's happening. Every Australian can buy their first home with just a 5% deposit. And you won't have to pay a single dollar in mortgage insurance, because we want more Australians to buy a home of their own, and we want them to do it sooner.
And now they want to tax your bedroom.
Why is it so hard for the Prime Minister to simply say the words, "There will be no spare bedroom tax under the government I lead"?
Yeah, your bedroom. The same mob that can't build houses want to tax your spare pillows. Meanwhile, a 20-year-old is told to work harder to buy a home, while their taxes guarantees 95% mortgage for people on twice their income. That's like paying for the VIP section, but you're not allowed into it, because why should you? That's today's show. We're going to explore why this insanity is allowed to continue, or did we simply miss the fact that this is insanity? If you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell, somewhere below, hit there, so you don't miss the rest of this series. I'm Emeka Edwin-Nweze, and this is Emeka Unscripted. Let's get into the show for today. Let's get one thing clear. Australia doesn't have a shortage of bedrooms. Not at all. We have a shortage of brains in the policymaker space. Yeah. The government has yanked the demand lever so hard, it literally snapped. Because it seems to me like they have no basic understanding of supply and demand. Basic economics. So here is the year 10 version. When supply is broken, as in not enough homes for the people who need them, you don't make it easier to buy what doesn't exist. If you do, you make it worse. Prices will inflate, competition will spike, and the same fewer houses get chased by even more buyers. That's either breathtakingly incompetent, or it's deliberate. Or perhaps it's a bit of both. Who knows? Approvals are down about 6%. Rents is at a record high. Why? Because landlords can charge that much, and they should, because the banks keep profiting of it by increasing the interest rates like they did for so many years. Vacancies, well, it's around 1%. Construction firms are dropping faster than crypto in 2022, I think it was. Remember that time? Crypto just kept dipping. Anyway, a whole bunch of people bought. Good for them, because they've made heaps of money now. And if you are in, keep going. Looks like it's working for you. Anyway, back to my story. Seems to me like their solution that they have on offer, well, actually, it's not that it seems to me. The solution that they actually have on offer is to add buyers faster than they can build bedrooms. And they call that, let me say, compassion for young Australians. Well, no, it's not. It's actually just incompetence on steroid. Or perhaps, I did say before, it might be deliberate. I'm not really sure. Let's see if we can figure that out. It's like someone telling you that they're hungry and you hand them out a fork. Like, I don't need a fork, I need food. Demand isn't the problem, supply is. I'm really hungry, give me food. Don't give me a fork. Okay, I won't belabor that any further. But here is the thing. Why is it that these policy makers are pushing something that even junior economists know will drive the prices nothing but up and not down? Well, I have said before that you should follow the trail anytime you see a policy decision that doesn't quite make sense, because it's going to lead to one of two places. It either leads to money or power or both, and it's usually both. So let's see if we can explore some of the things that I kind of think is what actually is driving this. The first one, well, let me call it the short-term popularity. Look, the government, they get to look like heroes, right? If Labor puts in place this magical fix for the first-time buyers by doing this fancy no LMI 5%, they get to look like the heroes today. But just watch, when the defaults start, because people can no longer afford it, well, they will no longer be in government. And that's their kind of like 3-year plan for the 7-year pain that they don't have to deal with. Because think about it. It's what they can do now. They can do something even if it doesn't fix the problem. It feels like an immediate fix. But it doesn't actually fix the problem because it sounds like it fixed it today. But by tomorrow, when they're no longer in power, well, we'll see who carries it. The next one, I think, is the banker's bonus loop. Because think about it. Before now, if you need to borrow less than 20% LVR, somebody has to insure it. That insurer is typically a private mortgage insurer. But the risk hasn't vanished now, just because they've changed it so that everybody that wants to can now go for the 5%. All that has happened is that the risk has shifted from, well, the private mortgage insurer to you, well, to the taxpayers. That's just how it works. The risk doesn't just vanish, it just shifts, which means that they still ultimately get to reap the benefit without carrying any of the risk. Okay, the next one I think is, I call it the GDP theater, because you see every government has to make their GDP look good for the rest of the world, and that GDP actually works based on spending that is happening in the country. If more money is circulating in the economy, if more spending is happening, if things are happening to grow the economy, well, GDP looks good. Loans, stamp duty, renovations, they all make the GDP look good. Actually, it looks even stronger, like I explained before. But it's fake growth. It's fake growth because it's all based on borrowed money. It's like, I don't know, let's say celebrating a pay rise because your credit limit went up. Yeah, your credit card just went up because, you know, they want you to use more borrowed money, and you go, oh my God, I just got more money. No. Okay. The next one is rising prices. So, well, I call this one the wealth transfer, because what happens is when prices rise and make existing homeowners feel richer, which is exactly what will happen, while the young Australians that are locked out, well, let me simplify that. Effectively, when the prices go up, because there is now even more demand and lesser supply, people that already own homes, those homes automatically, without them doing anything, become even more expensive. Which means they now feel like they have access to more money. In fact, they even feel more secure. But perhaps that's exactly what they are looking to do. That's how they shift the wealth. They shift it to the older generation, the already rich folk, well, who already own all these homes, and suddenly they are banking even more, making it even harder for you to enter the market. So no, it's equally bad. The next one is debt monetization. That's what I call that one, because there's a thing that happens when inflation is really bad. quietly inflating asset prices soaks up excess money supply. So if there's lots of money in the economy, which there seems to be a little bit of that, which is why this inflation has gone so high, and they're trying to manage it, this is basic economics, they will make the suburb look richer, while your purchasing power will actually just shrink. Yeah, literally. And just don't forget that it might be easier for you to buy houses now, but you don't actually have the income to do so. Or well, it seems like they've made it easier for you to buy houses, but your income doesn't actually match up your actual ability to service the loans that you are going to be getting out to buy these houses. So, by the way, if you want a deeper understanding about this one, drop me a comment and I'll unpack this in another episode, because this one is actually pretty packed. The other one I can think of, I call it the lobbyist carousel. Remember, we're going through why these things are happening and who is benefiting, where is the money, where is the power, and how all of those are coming together. Well, basically to screw you and make them richer, them more popular, while you stay in the middle and receive not much for it. So, you see, developers, they fund campaigns. Unions, they want more jobs in the market because that's what they get paid to do. Banks, they want bigger loan books. It's pretty straightforward, right? Bureaucrats, well, they get promoted to manage the mess that is made, and every time the government creates a new policy, a new awesome cool idea about something they're going to do, the bureaucrats, well, they get to do that. So effectively, all of these people in all these positions, they get a slice of the pie. Everyone does, because all of these people have someone in the government's ears, all telling them, we need you to do A, B, C, and D, well, except you. You don't have anyone in government's ears. That's why, by the way, we need a lobbyist for the common Aussie. So here's a quick shout out to Pontus Politics, who has been working very hard to try and give the everyday Aussie a voice too. I'm going to put them somewhere in the screen here, and you can go and follow them and try and give Aussies a voice. A lobbyist, because apparently that's the only way we can be heard. Okay. The last one I want to go through is what I call the bureaucratic addiction. You see, I sort of touched on it before. Every time that there is a new scheme, it means that there is a new acronym, new dashboards, new fancy presentations that the bureaucrats get to do. All these things that they absolutely love doing only goes to maintain their own jobs. It doesn't actually reproduce the outcome that actually makes people better off overall, as in the people that they're supposed to be serving, as in the people that pays them to deliver on these outcomes. You see, quiet, disciplined policies don't trend, but chaos does. So the circus is going to continue until someone puts a stop to it. Remember the NDIS? Trust and control? The evolution of chaos seems fancy at the start until you really start looking at it closer. Every single one of these are real, by the way, and none of them help the ordinary Australians. The ordinary Australians that are trying to rent, buy, or save. It's like being told that a house is on fire, and instead of using water to put it out, you pour petrol on it because it creates jobs for the firefighters. Yup, that's how our government thinks. The bottom line is, the system rewards sugar hits. That's exactly what happens. And it punishes long-term thinking. No thinking for long-term sustainability of our children and our children's children. The people who get to have the sugar hit right now are not even the ones that get to deal with the sugar crash that will result from it. Until common sense outranks politics, these illusions will keep feeding itself. And from my point of view, that seems like absolute fact. If this resonates with you, I need you to give this video a like so that more people can see it and understand what's actually going wrong with our economy. Here's the thing. Ultimately, I call this a debt trap. Okay, it's an illusion that feels like affordability, but it's a debt trap. The so-called affordability scheme don't make homes more affordable. That was always our problem. The problem started as unaffordable homes, but now they make it easier for you to borrow. That's not the problem. Homes need to be more affordable. We don't need to make it easier for people to borrow. And I'm sorry to all those who absolutely believe that this is the solution, because it just isn't. You see, when you pump demand into the market with no supply, the prices will rise. But you need to be aware that your wage hasn't. Your wages, there was no plan. There was no announcement for your wage to go up. You just now automatically you're able to borrow even more money to service houses that you were never going to be able to service in the first place. I call that a debt trap. Yeah, not death, debt. You know, there are households that are going to be going on this journey of signing a 30-year, 95% loan on an already overpriced property. That is an opportunity, not the opportunity that it's sold as. It's, again, a debt trap. Probably with a welcome mat to your new house that is overpriced, with the overpriced loan that you've now taken out for it. You know, 40 to 50% of your take-home pay will be going to repayments. That's before you can afford food, fuel, and or even childcare. And by the way, that's if you're lucky, because for most Aussies, it will be far more significant than that. And God help you, if you have a couple of rates that increase, like it happened earlier in, 2024 into 2025, or you change jobs and you get a slightly less salary than before, the dream of owning that home will very quickly become a chokehold. But here is the kicker. When the default happens, the government's guarantees kick in. Let me translate that for you. Taxpayers pay for the home that somebody couldn't afford, created by a policy funded by the same taxpayers' money. Yeah, that might be really complex to understand. So let me see if I can give you the ABC of it. A, the bank wins on the way in because you take the loan from them. Big loan book, remember that? B, the government collects the votes in the middle. They look like the good guys. They've provided the ability for you to lend, even if you can't really afford it. And C, well, the taxpayer gets to foot the bill on the way out. And just so you know, some of you will see this coming and you will just leave the country. Fewer skilled workers, that's what it will mean. Weaker middle class, that's exactly what will happen, because most of our good people have just simply left the country because they can't do it. They can't afford it. And by the way, I can't begin to tell you how many young people I have spoken to that, well, have told me they're just going to move to Bali because Australia has become far too unaffordable. This is exactly what's happening in our country right now. Remember the last time that Canberra decided that they're going to stimulate the property economy without a real plan? Okay, don't worry if you don't remember. I'll help you remember. It's called SDA, Specialist Disability Accommodation. On paper, SDA was a beautiful idea. Well, that's until the spookers piled in and they started putting ads all over Facebook saying, it's government backed, guarantees returns, social impact, invest your money, you will get 10 times the amount of rental as the normal household will. Okay, I don't know if you remembered it, but there was all these ads all over Facebook for this. Let's fast forward to now. Literally, hundreds, if not thousands, of these houses are sitting empty. Why? Because they're in the wrong locations or they were the wrong design. And by the way, the utilization rate is far below what people were promised. Meanwhile, people with a disability still literally either live in aged care homes, in the freaking hospitals clogging up the beds, or with their parents. That's right. If I remember this correctly, mom and dad investors rushed in. They built all sorts of homes with the promise that it was going to be absolutely phenomenal. Just not the right home, because there was no education on the ramification of the government backing something that really had no real plan in place. And now they're scaling the same damn mistake across the whole market. Unlimited guarantees, shared equity, low deposits, with no real supply fix, no quality fix, and no sustainability plan. Think about it. They haven't done a single job at actually fixing the real issue, which is we have a supply problem. Houses have not been built quick enough. There's so much standard around it that it's absolutely failing. But let's just make it easier for more people to demand for more houses, driving everything way up. Well, it is what it is. We have empty disability homes on one side and a broader affordability crisis on the other side of these houses. If you really think about it, that is not how policy should work. In fact, from my point of view, it's just absolute madness. But here's the truth that you won't see in press releases. Young couples are signing 95% LVR loans. You think that's a good thing? But you used to have to go through a hell of a lot of hoops to work out whether that was a good idea for you or not. But now, it'll be very simple for you to do to drive yourself into that amount of debt. Taxpayers are quietly guaranteeing these loans. So that's right. When it fails, you'll carry the gain. Builders rushing, corner cutting, so that they can put these houses up super quickly. Because why not? They're being funded. And apartments, they will go up with leaks, cracks, molds, lawsuits will be all over the place before the paint even dries. And families, they'll be priced out of their suburbs. A generation of renters paying for somebody else's safe bubble. My generation, the first major thing that we purchased was a home. Unfortunately for the next generation, the first major purchase they will be doing is a therapy session. Because they'll be priced out of the Aussie dream of owning a home before they could even get started with their lives. And that is what it is. You see, this isn't helping Aussies. It's not. It's not helping them into homes. It's helping the lenders into record profits with your money. And I have to keep reminding you of that, because unless you realize that these decisions are affecting you directly, if not now, then very soon after now, you will start to feel it. Because it seems, well, if all of that's not going to work, let's just introduce a new answer to the whole thing. The whole problem seems like we can solve it by just saying, let's tax the spare bedrooms. Have you heard of that one? Yeah. The government introduced the whole, let's tax the spare... Hang on, let's put that for all of you to hear so you can see that I'm not just making that up.
This week, Labor refused to rule out a tax on your spare bedroom, a tax on the room your kids grew up in, a tax on the roof over your head, or a tax on the home you worked your lifetime to build.
They literally are trying to introduce the idea of taxing your spare bedrooms. Because clearly grandma with her sewing room is the villain. You know, this is how they pitched it to you. It's an efficient use of stock. Yeah, your home, to them, is just a stock. Let me translate that for you. We broke the system. We broke it so badly that we're coming for your granny's flat. Yeah. That's why they want to tax your spare bedroom, which doesn't fix the problem. All it's going to do is build resentment. I dare a politician, by the way, to explain this to my grandma, that they will be taxing her spare bedroom. And they should record it, by the way. I'll try and make it go viral. Well, I actually have a grandma, so they should go tell their grandma that they're going to tax the spare bedroom that she keeps for when they come over with the grandchildren to visit, because that's going to go in their favor. You know, they're calling it, it's the innovative utilization policy. That's how they fancily dress up these things to make it seem like a normal thing. But let me translate what that means for you. We've run out of ideas and things to tax. Yeah, completely out of ideas. So we're going to rummage through your own linen closet and see what revenue we can find out of that. It makes no sense, but that's what they do. Now, while all of this is happening, migration settings, well, they're out of sync with reality. Over 440,000 arrivals in the past year alone. Great. Real people. Awesome people. Real talents. Bring them into the economy. That's all good. Where are they going to live? Have we thought about this? You can't just bring 500,000 people into a 1% vacancy rate that the country already is sustaining, or rather not sustaining, and then expect how many? Let's all kumbaya and all live under one roof, like 15 of us under one roof. That would be freaking fantastic. And by the way, I did watch the Pauline Hanson episode where I think it was Albo's family, they all moved into his home. If we can, Pauline Hanson, please excuse me while we use your please explain. Let's just put that right here, because I think it will be fun.
Skibbity D. His head's in a toilet. Oh, Toto, what is it? I'm doing very important Prime Minister stuff here. Fact, every minute Albanese's letting in a new migrant. Come on, Toto, we don't trust facts from Conservatives.
Albanese's immigration Ponzi scheme is destroying the economy.
I'm not destroying the economy, I'm covering up how bad it really is. Toto, no! Being critical of immigration is racist, you silly white dog. It's not like all these migrants are turning up at your house, on your doorstep. Anthony, it's me, Antonio Albanese, my long-lost Italian cousin. What are you doing here? I'm a scooter. I come all the way from Italy. I need a place to stay. I don't know, Antonio. We've got a full house at the moment, you know, with Jody and Toto and all.
Per favore, I can help out around the house. I'm a skilled labourer.
Skilled? Come on in. I'm actually really short on skilled labourers.
Oh, grazie, grazie. Oh, la famiglia.
La Familia? What does that mean?
Grazie, Anthony.
Angela Albanese? Bambini Albanese?
Oh, Anthony, you've put on weight. It's a good thing. You are too skinny.
Okay, Nonna. Yep, kitchen's that way.
Buongiorno, Anthony. Grazie, grazie.
Papa Giuseppe Albanese?
And this is a Pinocchio Albanese.
I'm going to lower your power bill by $275.
Ah! I didn't say everyone could come over.
Hey, it's a fine, Antonio. We are one big happy family, no?
Yeah. Anyway, what you get when all of this happens is bidding wars, rent spikes, and public frustration, which we literally are already seeing happening. Now, I'm a migrant, so please hear me when I say I'm not anti-immigration in any way. I'm just actually anti-bad governance, because migration does work, but it only does when it is matched with capacity. But they're treating it like a spreadsheet, not like it's a human process. And when you do that, what you end up doing is you break the economy and you break humanity, which is very evident right now. So it's either this is the most economically illiterate government that I've personally seen in my adult life, or, as I mentioned before, it is deliberate. It is a deliberate wealth transfer that they are trying to engage in. But they will push it as compassion for, you know, the young Australians. Either way, what I am seeing and what I am saying is that the outcome is exactly the same. The prices will go up, the debt will go up, young Australians will be trapped, but the banks, they get to laugh and enjoy the profits, while the taxpayers, they will foot the bill at the end. This is the reality. And every time, by the way, every time it breaks, the same people are hired to review it. That's like letting the arsonist write the fire report. Yeah, that's actually a really good one. It still works. Because get it? They burnt the building down and they're going to write their own reports. It happens every time. You remember the NDIS episode? If you haven't seen that, go have a look at that, because they do that on repeat. Now, you have the context. So I hear people say, you talk about all these problems, how do we actually fix it? Now, I don't think it's that complicated. And by no stretch of the imagination, I am not an economist, but there's some really basic things that I understand. Let me see if I can share that with you. And I'm not sharing that with you so that you can take my word for it and go, that's the absolute fix. I think these are well-researched and thought-out ideas, but maybe there are others that you can think about as well. And that's entirely the point of these. You get to be enlightened. Here's the thing. You can tie migration to housing capacity, region by region, with real dashboards, like real approvals for vacancies and infrastructure. Don't just bring people in to any part of the country without thinking this through. Have an actual matrix that you use to analyze and decide which part of the country can sustain bringing in more humans, then take them there and do that based on an actual thought out approach of what that area of the country requires as far as skill is concerned. But that's just one idea. Let me see. Another one could be maybe to fix the supply first. Seems pretty straightforward, but reform planning, investing, enabling infrastructure and actual innovate the building process so that these homes, they can go up faster, cheaper, and stronger. Because currently, we literally build homes with paper in Australia, by the way. Literally paper. So many issues around it. That's why these houses, they really, really struggle to stay standing. Have you seen how many cracks appear in your ceiling, in your floors, in all of the modern houses we're building? But that's because they're trying to cut corners, which they don't need to do. Okay, another possible solution, I think, tax mobility, not bedrooms. And by that, what I mean, this seems like a complicated one, but it really isn't. Replace stamp duty with a brother land tax. By the way, this is already happening. It's happening in the ACT. It encourages downsizing without punishing retirees or people who just want to have a spare bedroom. Pretty straightforward. And I gotta touch on the whole build properly thing, right? Because what we need to be doing in Australia is funding apprenticeships, enforcing standards, and shutting down the lemon builders. Now, I said before that these houses need to go up faster so that they can catch up with the demand. But you're not going to be able to do that if you don't have quality trades that know how to do the work and do it well. What looks nice now as a nice handout to you with all the LMI nonsense and all the 5% everybody gets in, Oprah style, what you're actually getting is a very nice looking handcuff. Because that handcuff will hold you for the next 30 years. And at the end of that, you will not be able to even get out of it. So what I've done today is giving you education to explain how we got here. Now, it's time for you to be enlightened and realize who is benefiting, because I've gone through the pain of describing it as best as I know how. But it can't stop there, because you have to be empowered to say, we've had enough. This can't happen on our watch. Because one day, when your kids will ask you, what did you do when homes became unaffordable on your watch? You want to be able to say to them, we stood up. You can't let them sell out debt as an opportunity. Don't accept this renting forever. That is normal. I'm not saying, well, don't get into that market to try and buy, just rent forever, because that will, then at least you wouldn't have the debt. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can't accept it. And don't let them tax your bedrooms, for crying out loud, because while their second home is sitting empty, you will be sneaking the extra tax that they use to cover up all the bad decisions that they're making on your behalf. But here's a quick reality check for you. In Australia, about $560,000 will struggle to buy you anything much.
If you have a budget under $500,000, you could buy something like this property right now. This one just sold this week for $460,000.
In Australia, about $560,000 will struggle to buy you anything much. Anything much more than a tired house in a very forgotten suburb. In the meantime, in Nigeria, roughly 560 million naira, which is the rough equivalent to 560,000 Australian dollars, can buy you a solid, beautiful home with everything nicely finished. Double concrete walls, iron reinforcement. Yeah, the frame is literally like iron. None of these light wooden crap and thin as wooden material or metal material for the frame. In fact, the marble finish, the craftsmanship, you can rarely see that stuff here in Australia. But Nigeria is a developing nation, yet look at the standard. Look at the majestic standard that they build. Many smart Nigerians dream of moving here for a beautiful life. And I use Nigeria as an example because that's where I'm originally from. So for all the stereotypes about Africa or West Africa and Nigeria specifically, look at the stunning, brilliant, beautiful thing that is created out there. You know, it beats me that people keep trying to move here, but for a better life, by the way. Yet look at what we offer them. And little do they know that it seems to me like in only a few years, they might stand to regret why did they make the decision to move here in the first place. So next week, I'm going to be speaking with a Nigerian developer based in Lagos and a Nigerian-Australian builder and architect. He's a bit of both. And we'll unpack why a developing nation can produce this level of aesthetic and finish, and what Australia can probably learn from that. And we'll also talk about the labor cost, because I know that I'm going to have some experts that will come out with some numbers and tell me, gotcha, it's not that simple, you know, labor is cheaper there, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I know, I've heard you, it's fine, I don't care. That's why I'm going to talk to these people and we'll help unpack this. So if you want to be part of that conversation, I ask that you subscribe now and hit the notification bell below so you can actually see it when it comes up, because we're going to explore why it happens. In the meantime, do this. Share this episode, subscribe to the channel, talk to your mates, especially the ones who think that this wouldn't touch them. Unless they're obviously planning to escape the country and move to Bali like I've been told they're all trying to do, in which case that's fine. Watch the numbers, the approvals, the migration intakes, the government guarantees. Keep a close eye on them and see what's happening, and it might reveal to you some things. The only thing more expensive than bad policies is staying silent while it happens. We won't wait. We will innovate. Wake up to do better yesterday than you did today. We need to wake up, because what we need to aim to do is to do better today than we did yesterday, or do better tomorrow than we will do today. So if you truly care for others, the economy will take care of itself as a byproduct. And in a country that is this rich, the housing crisis isn't a mystery, it's a freaking choice. Choices can be changed, and it starts with yours at the ballot box. The next time you have to vote, look out for the government that looks to be consistent with making decisions that actually benefit the people. Now let's move to the comment section for today. Okay, now I wanted to take a look at a couple of comments on the Monique from Diversity Models, her interview, her podcast that we did together, because I got quite a lot of reactions on that one about all sorts of opinions, and completely thank you for commenting, and everybody had a right to say what they wanted to say and how they felt and thought about it. There's quite a lot of comments. And I wanted to go through, I've read quite a few of them. I really don't feel like many of them needs responding to, because a lot of people are just angry. But there is a particular comment that I wanted to go through, which is one from a lady called Sandra Dures. I think that's her name. That's a YouTube profile name anyway. And it says, unfortunately, it's gone too far now for anyone to believe what Monique says. I was on her side at the first ACA interview, but all the things she has said and done can't be defended. Firstly, I do want to agree, as far as the video that went on YouTube that exposed the personal medical details of some of the participants that Monique was exposing, that was not very cool, to put it lightly. Not a thing that should be done ever, and I did articulate that to Monique, and I have no problems being agreeable with that. Now, I'm not sure what you are referring to as said, but that's okay. I'll leave it to your own opinion there. The next part, she says, one thing that speaks volumes to me, and this is for both of you, people that have something to defend or need to defend themselves usually means they are guilty and have something that needs to cover up. Now, I think that's a fallacy. I think that's nonsense. When the hit mob, the loud minority leftist illiterates came after me on LinkedIn and all the socials and everywhere else that they could, accusing me of being a homophobe. I had to stand up and say I am not a homophobe. Clearly, I work with all these people and I actually spend time with them and I actually love them and care for them. That doesn't make me a homophobe just because you say it. And I am not hiding something because I feel the need to come out and say, hey, you're wrong about your perception about me, because here is evidence as to why that's not true. So let's just put that to bed. And by the way, I believe your comment there, Sandra, echoes a lot of the sentiment of the others. The other thing she said then was people that do good work are leaders in the industry, and their reputation is what will shine through the face of diversity. The fact that you both needed to do the show, that's nothing. That nothing is shining for either of you. I think that is absolutely bull poop. You are completely wrong. You are talking nonsense. I have a lot that shines. I don't need to toot my own horn. I'm pretty sure if you Google my name, you find very quickly that I do a very good job in this industry. I actually do exceptionally well, so well that most people will know my name. I'm not sure they will yours though. Crickets. Maybe we should just leave it there. And by the way, one thing I do want to point out, because I have all these words, horrendous. Look at her behavior. Okay, you all, either something is broken in your heads, or, well, maybe something is broken in your heads. I don't know what else to call you. But here is the thing: the last ACA that went up, they talked about the lady who was like, "Oh my God, I was hired for this gig, and Monique tried to paint me black." Made me look darker, and I know this one's going to be controversial for a lot of you, so that's why I'm touching on it. It made me look darker. How dare she? And the person that was interviewing, the very nice lady, who I can't remember her name. And by the way, that's how much you mean to me, because I do remember a lot of things. I just can't remember your name because you're not that important. But anyway, apparently you are, so maybe you are to some people. By the way, your ratings are dying, if you haven't noticed, because all you're doing is telling lies that are not real. Anyway, let's get back to it. So she's asking all these questions, prompting things, and they shape the video to make Monique look like this absolutely vile, racist individual. Let me point out something for you. The lady, as I understand it, was not asked, or she wasn't forced to take up a gig in an industry that demands you have a certain look in order to play a part. She was asked whether she wanted to do it, and she said yes. She accepted the gig, she signed to do it, and when she turns up and a makeup is done for her to reflect the gig that she's supposed to be doing, we call that racist. Are you kidding me? The last time I had to go do a movie shoot, I was playing a role where I had to look like what I looked like. If not, I will not be given the role. And if you want to turn up and call that racist, imagine I turned up to the shoot and I said, hang on a sec, pretty sure you trying to make me look darker is racist. Homie, no. You must be out of your goddamn mind if you think that's reality. Because if you signed something to say I will play a role, I don't care what you think, you're going to play the role. And if that role that they're hiring you for says you need to look like you are playing a part, and that includes being an indigenous person, you don't get to turn up on a TV show and tell the world, oh my God, she's so racist because she painted me to look a certain color that I'm not. You signed a damn document to play a role, and that's the role you played. So for all you loudmouth folks out there who believe you can utter whatever nonsense and garbage you want to utter online, go for it. It doesn't change anything about facts. Because like I said on the podcast, when you try to cast somebody down that doesn't deserve it, guess what? All you end up doing is putting them in a position where it goes full cycle and they end up getting very known for it. And eventually that very known means that greater things happen. And let me make a comparison that I know you're not going to like. Because you see at the start of Donald Trump running all the campaigns that he was, every man and his dog that wanted him down, even some of you freaking morons out there, okay, I promise that I will no longer insult anyone. So it just comes out. I do apologize. Even all of you out there who tend to believe that he's some kind of evil dictator, fascist, What's the other word? I don't know. He's the new Hitler. All of that crap that you believe, all of it has absolutely turned out to be false. And by the way, he's one of the best leaders that America has seen. He's making more difference in less than 1 year. Pause for a second. Can you even imagine? Actually, can you even believe that he's only been serving for a year? That's correct. Because he's achieved that much in 1 year that many presidents are yet to achieve. Oh, and by the way, that you will never get to achieve, because all you know how to do, instead of working your little butt off to work out how to be better in life, is to go online and tear others down that are doing it. But that's on you. Don't really care. And like I said, if you don't like it, there are many other channels on YouTube, literally millions. Go elsewhere. Anyway, that's it for the show today. Go ahead and subscribe somewhere below and follow my channel and share it and hit the notification button, all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next episode. I'm Emeka Edwin-Nweze and this is Emeka Unscripted. Godspeed.